in the raw. Okay, it's Guyana Free Media. And I'm your friend, your brother, Hajji Dr. Roshan can in the raw. So this is the aftermath of an amazing early presentation, historic, I would say, of the 2023 budget 23. I'm looking and studying it and getting to comprehend and to understand it more. It was interesting to note that what appears to have been a prepared thing before the budget was even prepared, and that he, Norton, the leader of the opposition, refused. This man here refused to sit with the government to work and even scrutinize the budget. So he, of all persons, should not be speaking of the budget. And he, Norton, who is supposed to be representing his flock, the people of the People's National Congress, or APNU, as the official head of APNU, he refused. He failed to sit with the people's government to plot the budget. And only God knows what he might have put out that would have made it a much better budget, dear beloved divine friends, family, brothers and sisters. So he described the budget as dead meat. One of the famous, best, most amazing budget that will touch every citizen and every sector of this country, where directly and even at times indirectly the entire nation will get some good, some support out of this budget, the people's budget. Now, I just want to deal with this dead meat budget as Norton described it. And this recording is being done today, Monday the 23rd. And this article was printed on January 17, 2023 by Kaichor News. This year budget presented to the tune of $781.9 million has been criticized by the leader of the opposition, AUBREY Norton, as void of crucial measures to grow the economy outside of the oil and gas sector. And he went on to say that the budget is simply dead meat. Now, I cannot understand this guy who is trying to maybe give himself some kind of a credit that he is saying something as the official opposition leader in Parliament. And that this man, to my opinion, I mean, being paid by us, the taxpayers, to represent us, refused to sit to work on the budget. So I wonder what you, the citizens of this country who support AUBREY Norton and the People's National Congress, you the people, it will appear, AUBREY Norton is treating you as dead meat, because he did not sit with the ministry or the minister to craft the bill, where he could have made some powerful points to help the people of this country and even his supporters, because generally all he cares about are his supporters from what we have observed and not really the nation Guyana or the country Guyana or all the peoples of Guyana. But here he has not even represented his people, his supporters who voted for them, their party, and for them to be in the opposition. He did not even sit, to my opinion, as a commentator. Speaking to reporters at the completion of the Finance Minister's Dr. Ashni Singh's 6-hour-long presentation, Norton said that the fiscal plan lacks measures to improve the lives of ordinary Guyanese citizens. All right, let us say that he's speaking right. Let us assume from some misguided mentality of his and fooling himself and his people that he is speaking right. Let us not forget that he refused to sit with the government and the minister to work on the budget. According to the opposition leader, it is a dismal presentation. Oh, really? I know we are paying you to oppose. But speaking about a dismal presentation of a budget of this caliber, which no Guyanese politicians or anyone in the past could envisage or actually think would have come about. And all of this has been done by the people's government, this government, recognized by the world. The key problems facing the people of Guyana aren't addressed. But your present budget, with no measures to alleviate or eradicate poverty. So what you're going to do? Press a button and eradicate poverty? Mr. Norton? Let me look at Norton. And let me address him. Norton. How can you eradicate poverty in any nation? Has poverty, Norton, been eradicated in the United States? They have many people living on the bridges. Citizens of that country, all military officers, soldiers who fought in the various wars, living in the streets. And that greatest nation that I love, cannot alleviate poverty. The United Kingdom has some military officers living in the streets and in their cars and don't have cars on the cardboards and fought in wars, paid taxes to the United Kingdom. So who are you to think that poverty can be eliminated? The fact is, this government is giving all the opportunities for people to go into their own business, supporting single parents, and I'm not one who encourages the manufacturing of single parents. When people want to be single parent, they must do the right thing and try not to become a single parent. But they're giving business opportunity to people who are single parents. I say give the business opportunity to people who are working together, who are morally inclined, rather than to go and make babies around the place and expect taxpayer dollars to give them business and all kinds of opportunities and sorrow and everything else. But the children are born, they're part of Guyana, they're ours, and we must look out for them. But we must not make it profitable, to my opinion, to become children mothers. Try make babies in families with husband and father to develop a moral nation and a moral personality. Children are known when they don't have both parents to be affected mentally, psychologically, and many of them turn out to be bad. But we also have some cases where they might have both parents, and because of bad companies, they might have made mistakes as well. But that's another topic altogether. But the government is even giving loans to single parents, and some single parents are taking advantage of the fact that they are single parents. But you present a budget with no measure, Norton is saying, to eradicate poverty. So in England, they can't eradicate poverty. In the United States, they can't eradicate poverty. In the whole of Europe, in all the great developing nations, in China, in India, poverty cannot be eliminated simply because some people have a karmic dispensation to be born and to live through a certain circumstance of poverty. They're born for it, unfortunately. But a country must have a system to take care and see that they're able to at least have meals and clothes and medicine and so on. And two, some people are just naturally orientated towards poverty. No matter what you do for them, for example, you give them money, free money, they're going to blow it out, they will drink it out, they will sport it out, and they will complain that they're not getting any benefits or any free money, but they're poverty mentalized. I had a relative of mine who told me one time while I was studying and trying to develop and to grow, and he was sitting down and telling me, Brother Roshan, you know, poverty loves us and we love poverty. And I looked at the guy. But I'm hustling and struggling, but he's just sitting down and living off of his father's sweat, who was a security guard. But poverty loved him. Instead of him working, linking up with his father, putting the resources together and developing a beautiful life. So that's what I'm telling you. Some people are poverty orientated. They're looking for poverty for some reason or the other. So, Norton, you don't know much. You don't know much. And then we have all born, according to those who believe in karma, for certain dispensation and reality in our birth. I believe in hard work. And I believe there's work in this country for everybody. And there's good work to keep everybody occupied and everybody alive. And this government has system to help people in housing, in getting lands. But then some people get 1, 2, 3 lands and they fake and they sell out the land. That I'm talking about orientated to poverty. I know a lady who got a piece of land. She's alcoholic. She made 4 children with 4 different fathers, blaming everyone. When one father put her in a house, she was bringing in another man in the house, always drunk, always misbehaving. And eventually the man took his house away and abandoned her and his child and disappeared. Just giving you a little idea how some of these children have to suffer. But this lady has an inclination for poverty and always wants sympathy. She got the government house, the government land, I beg your pardon, and instead sold it 3 times and could have gotten jail. This has happened to a lot of people. A lot of people have lands and some of them approach me to buy it. They paid next to nothing for the government land and then want to sell it for 7 million. Immediately for $1 million. A little bit later in quality places for 7 million, 10 million. And then they're blaming Mr. Aubrey Norton, the government of the day. And you, Aubrey, are saying, giving free money to people like my friend and brother Glenn Lal, $1 million a month, and then he went on to $1 million a year. Do you know what happens if you give 50,000 to certain people in this country? Just 50,000, 25,000 permanently a month. Many of them will not want to work anymore. So, Norton, you are not making sense, my friend, and it appears to me that you are the dead meat. That your brains might appear to be dead meat, and maybe meat inside, as according to your pronouncement here, and I'm reading it from the phone, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let me go on. And so for me, one of the key issues affecting the people of Guyana has not been addressed. That is poverty. Well, I gave him a nice lecture about poverty. All right? And why when APNO was in power, why did it not eliminate poverty? And they had 28 years in power with all kinds of skullduggery to stay in power. Why did they not eliminate poverty? Norton? Why? Now, Norton said the government has announced a number of increases. Okay. He's agreeing. A number of increases came about by the government. To ease cost of living, on the other hand, he said that the measures announced to ease the cost of living has been explored already and have not worked. I skip a bit of the previous paragraph. Let me go back to that. Norton said the government has announced a number of increases. Remember, this is in the raw. That is why I named it in the raw. Two reasons. One is to bring it as it is, and two, because I am recording, I'm reading, I am controlling the lights, and I'm doing everything possible. And then eventually, it at times might go to a staff to do some editing. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all are reading the newspapers, but I know for a fact also many people like my readings simply because they do not always get the newspaper. So for emphasis, let me emphasize this and repeat it again. Norton said that the government has announced a number of increases. At least he's going to give credit to that. And it has produced no measure in this year's budget to address inflation. As such, he warned that government's spending can fuel the cost of living crisis currently affecting locals. So, spending to build the roads, the highways, the bridges, to give people comfort in their life is a bad thing for him. And through that, too much money will be circulating in the economy, and that it will create inflation. For those people who don't understand, inflation is when you have more paper money circulating in the economy and you lose purchasing power because the money is plenty but the costs are high. So I think I know what else he's coming to. I haven't read his article before. So the government spending can fuel the cost of living crisis. So money is spending, too much money in the economy. And then another problem is when people don't get their increases. Barajagdev tried to explain this, former president, about too much of money being paid as wages could affect the economy and create a disaster called inflation. But people of the country, Aubrey Norton, like plenty color paper money in their pocket instead of having less paper money with power in the dollar. On the other hand, he said that the measures announced to ease the cost of living had been explored already and have not worked. So the government explored. He's saying it has not worked. It is the same old measures that you have tried that resulted in increased cost of living. We saw many of the measures did not trickle down to the people, and so the people continue to face high cost of living. So things are being done. You're saying the money is not trickling down, but you're not giving no evidence, no proof of what you're saying. You're just talking emotionally to pull, Mr. Norton, the wool over your people's eye and get the few who are indoctrinated by you to become emotional. He was also keen to note that Dr. Singh, in presenting the budget, said there is great focus on avoiding the dreaded Dutch disease. So the government is trying to be careful with this inflation which could cause the Dutch disease. He reasoned that while it is good to put resources towards agriculture, the issue is that there is little or no emphasis on manufacturing, and therefore resources should have been put towards this sector as well as each of the non-oil sectors in a profound manner. But that is happening. The government is spending tremendously on agriculture, riverine transport, general agriculture, processing of food. Right now, a new factory has been opened up and told in the upper quarantine, and the government is looking for a team of people who will want to use that factory to process oils and foods. So this is not fair, or you're just playing politics, Aubrey Norton. They're trying to develop the non-oil sectors by industrializing agriculture and working on the processing of food products that could be consumed locally and exported overseas and so on. But ladies and gentlemen, what is the Dutch disease? A lot of people hearing about the Dutch disease. So listen carefully and I'll try to break it down to you. It is an economic phenomenon, an economic reality where both the rapid development, quick growth, so to say, of one sector of the economy and the decline of the other sectors. So the oil sector is developing and the others will be falling and are dropping. It leads to substantial appreciation of the domestic currency. So plenty paper-colored money will be circulating and some people feel nice with that. But the money has no purchasing power. For example, you go to the market and you want an ordinary pineapple now and it's $1,000. A shallot, $600, $650, and so on. Too much money circulating, so the money don't have purchasing power. But people want to hear they get plenty of money in their hands. Dutch disease is the concept that describes an economic phenomenon with the rapid development of one sector of the economy, particularly natural resources, gold and diamond and so on, to give you an idea, precipitates. Precipitates means climbs higher. It precipitates like how water precipitates and it turns into water vapor. It goes into the sky to produce water, but a decline in the other sectors, the oil and other sectors. It is often characterized as a substantial appreciation of the domestic currency, which is usually affected. So to say the domestic currency, your paper-colored money, is usually affected. Dutch disease is a paradoxical situation, a confusing kind of a situation where good news for one sector of the economy, such as the discovery of natural resources, example oil, gold and diamond, result in a negative impact on the country's overall economy. I tried to break it down, dear friends and family, who might not have understood what is the Dutch disease. Norton said, I think it's a 5-hour plus or platitudes. That's the presentation of Dr. Singh's budget. But when it comes, platitudes mean saying nice things about yourself. But when it comes to effective measures to combat poverty, to deal with inflation, to deal with the high cost of living, no such measures. Well, obviously he is blind, or Norton can't hear well, or that the dead meat in the head, or the meat in the head affects him from understanding the reality. He said too, there is excessive focus on the infrastructure. This, according to him, is because this is where corruption occurs. The leader of the opposition said the government seems to like calling big figures, how much money in this and that. What is missing is what impact it will have on the lives of the people. And when it comes to the impact on the lives of the people, this budget is dead meat. So you keep on harping on that dead meat thing to evolve emotion. So he's contradicting and disagreeing with the fact of the infrastructure. Infrastructure, Mr. Norton, infrastructure helps to create money to circulate in the economy. In construction, every facet of an economy is credited with growth and development because everybody earns as money circulates, more things are being purchased, more workers are making money, they deposit it in the bank are getting liquidity and dynamo, and the whole economy gains from infrastructure and construction, Mr. Norton. Oh boy. And then he comes to the impact on the lives of the people. This budget is dead meat. So he had prepared this thing here, regardless of what they had said. They can't argue about anything, ladies and gentlemen. They can't say anything. Because this budget by the Honorable and the powerful Dr. Ashley Singh. Show me his face, please. Covered with the angelic power of Excellency President Dr. Irfan Ali. Show me him next. And on the other side, show me him, Dr. Bharat Jagdeo. Dr. Ashley Singh with these two powerhouses next to him to empower him, and together with Mark Phillips leading this country in prosperity and success. He said the increases announced, such as the threshold by 10,000, is insignificant in comparison to the earnings government is receiving. So government is receiving a lot of money. Just give it away. Just give it away. Just why they weren't doing it or anything at all? Just give it all away, right? Because money coming in, and it's well managed to develop the country, but just give it all away, and the $10,000 in the income tax threshold is nothing to him. But what did they do when they were in power? That's the question to ask. So, is also in old age pension, according to Norton, will have no impact. Public assistance by a mere $2,000 is ridiculous, Norton said, and the $5,000 to the old age pension. But, you know, ladies and gentlemen, you can't give everything out immediately. I am of the opinion that the government is going to give $50,000 per month by time of the next election as the economy grows, not because of election, but because the economy will grow and there will be more wealth in the system to give people more money, like $50,000. And instead of $2,000, it will go up at that time by another $10,000 for the public assistance. So the government has done an amazing budget. Dr. Ashley Singh with our President, Dr. Irfan Ali, Dr. Bharat Jagdeo, I thank you all for an amazing budget that will help to grow and develop this country. And will benefit everyone in this country. Your friend, your brother, me, Hajji, Dr. Roshan, in the raw. Say thank you, affirm.